Christian is with us in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hi, Christian. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Yes. So I was calling because I had a question. I have $6 million worth of property here in the area, and I owe almost $3 million, about $2.8 million in loans. My question was, do you think it's wise to sell some of my portfolio to pay off the loans and be debt-free, or should I utilize the monthly cash flow to pay off the loans fast? What do you think?
Well, congratulations. You've done a good job. You got a good equity position, and you've obviously got a going concern. And there's a lot of different ways to attack the situation where you are. You can keep doing more of what you've been doing. Here's what I learned when I had, when I was 25 years old, 24 years old, I had $4 million worth of real estate, and I owed $3 million on it. So I did not have as good an equity position as you do. Okay, I was about 75% loan to value. You're about 50%. All right, but I ended up losing everything because the bank got sold to another bank, called our notes. We had a lot of flip notes out, 90-day notes, and it caught me and took me out. And what I learned from that going broke process in my 20s 30 years ago was that those of us that love real estate, people like you and me, Christian, sometimes we forget to measure risk. Common sense tells you, and actual business analysis tells you, that the more debt you have, the more risk you have. Would you agree with that?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And what I've discovered now over 30 years, not only of teaching these things, but of living a completely debt-free life, and I today own several $100 million worth of real estate. What I've discovered in that process, building that portfolio a different way over this 30 years, is that the lack of risk with having no debt has accelerated over the long haul the amount of real estate I can own. Because I don't make as many mistakes, I don't have setbacks, I don't have cash flow problems. I've always got cash. Can you imagine how much cash my real estate throws off with no debt? It's obscene. Yeah. Okay? And I can buy another piece of real estate with just cash flow fairly often because we've got tremendous rents coming in on these things. Now, so all that to say, what I have learned from my personal walk and from walking with others is that where I know you will be the best off in 10 years and have the most wealth because of the lowered risk and the increased peace in your life, it is if you were debt-free. Now, do we have to burn everything down and do this suddenly because you and I had a conversation? No, I think you have a gradual process and you say, okay, over a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, I'm going to move in that direction, because if I were in your shoes, I would rather have $4 million of paid-for real estate than $6 million of real estate with $3 million worth of debt.
Very true.
And that's about where you will be, because your real estate will go up in value while we're doing this. All right? So how long have you been doing this? Apparently you've been doing it a while and you're good at it.
Well, I've been doing it since 2012. I actually used my W-2 to help me purchase property, and I was also flipping at the time.
Yeah, okay.
In 2019, I decided to leave my job because I was able to sustain myself and paying all the bills.
Yeah, and so you're doing flips in addition to this?
Yeah, well, flips are more so like for fun. I do flips maybe 2-3 times a year.
Okay.
Yeah, but
just good pocket money. Okay. Yeah, you can probably live off your flips, and then your other stuff just generates income. That's awesome. Well done. Good for you. Well, here's what I figured out. When I'm doing a flip, I buy something differently if I'm paying cash, and when it is paid for, I am in no rush to sell it. So I never become a motivated seller or a motivated buyer. And I get better deals on the buy, and I sell for higher on the sell because I got all kinds of patience with no payments. But when the payment's eating your back pocket out, it makes you want to jump and get rid of that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I've been following you for quite a while, and I would like to be debt free at some point. That's why.
Have you
I
got
wanted
any
to take this,
properties that are higher LTV, that are 80, 90% LTV?
No, like usually when I borrow, it's really really low.
Well, I mean, you're at about
I only
50% on the portfolio. You don't have any that are higher than that? They're all about 50%?
No, not at all.
Okay,
I try to make sure
because that would be the first ones I divest. But since you don't have those, what I would do is just look at the portfolio and go, okay, 10 years from now, which one of these suckers do I want to own? And start going, okay, I'm going to use some cash flow and knock out a few, and I'm going to liquidate, I don't know, a couple $1 million worth or $1 million, $1.5 million worth, or whatever it comes out to be. And, between those two things, have a 2 or 3 year plan to be free. Because again, you're gonna be wealthier and you're gonna have a better life if you start with $4 million of paid for real estate 3 years from today.
I'm not arguing with that. I think he got the nice Dave version of that. That was great.
Well, the reason is because he's actually pulling it off.
Yeah.
He's not he could probably survive and 10 years. Now, you start doing this nothing down real estate crap on TikTok, you're not going to survive 10 years.
Yeah, that's
true. Because all the guys that I knew doing that in any generation have gone broke, including me. Mm-hmm. So, but he's sitting in a 50% equity position, so he's going to cash flow. And if he manages the property well, and he's been doing it a decade already.
Yeah.
So that tells me he's really got his crap together. But now we're down to the simple philosophy is, you start asking yourself, is this debt-free thing really better? Mm-hmm. And the actual end result of the data is, you end up better. Not just a better feeling.
Right.
You end up with more money.
Well, yeah, you laid that out really clearly. I think that he has a good strategy for him and something that he can start walking towards, which is really cool.
Yeah. Those of you that are playing with real estate or want to play with real estate, let me just tell you something. You will never put in... You will be less likely, you can always do something stupid. You will be less likely to put a bum tenant in a property when you don't have any payments. But when you got payments, you're looking for somebody to pay those payments with their rent.
It's a very good
and
point.
You're more desperate as a landlord to fill your vacancies, and you're more likely to go, well, I know, I kind of had a bad feeling. Turns out she was doing drugs. Who knew?
Wow.
But, whatever it is, right? And you put a tenant in there that's a bum, and then you've got a mess. They tear up the place. You still go through 6 months with no income. You go through an eviction. You go through all this stuff, bankruptcies on them, everything else. It's a mess. But you won't overlook that if you're going, I don't think, unless you really make me feel good, that I'm going to let you have the privilege of living in my property because I don't have any problems now, and I don't need you to bring your problems to me.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, so desperate landlords make stupid decisions like desperate people of any kind.
And it ends up costing them more.
Yeah, and you get bit. You get really bit. And I've done both. I've been both. It's been a long, long time since I've put in a weak tenant because I had to, because I haven't been there in decades now. And so I'm just really encouraging folks. There's a way to do this real estate thing where it turns out really nice, and there's a way to do it where you go broke. So, and Christian's in the middle. This is a good question.